I stand before you today fully awake, but I dreamed the dream of Jesus, of Muhammad, of Gandhi, of Martin Luther King, and every spiritual and religious leader have come before us. I have a dream.
Welcome to Interfaith Insights, Spotlighting Faith, with myself, Iain Stewart, and a very, very special guest, Movin Melvin Brown. And there's only one person who has that laugh that you will recognise across the And Melvin was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. He's no stranger to the Edinburgh Festival, of course, so everyone here in Scotland will know you, and of course in the UK, in Brighton and other areas where you have quite a big following, I have seen.
Where I've had fun, the place I've had fun.
And one thing I will get to later is about how much fun the audience also have at your shows. But I was reading that you started to steal the hearts of people when they watched you dance at the age of 5. Coming from a church and gospel background, so you started very young. You've been described as the last of the great song and dance men. That's quite an accolade. You have been compared to having the ability of Sammy Davis Jr. combined with Michael Jackson, which, well, you can't really say much more than that. And you've just appeared with some of the real greats, some of the people that I love, from the Four Tops, B.B. King, Stevie Wonder, Willie Nelson, James Brown. It's just, the list is endless. And on top of your own, obviously, singing and dancing shows, you also have this wonderful tap into health, tap dance workout and life system, which we'll talk a little bit about later, and connected simple health and happiness. You make it all sound so simple.
Well, that's what I always say about life here. Life is really simple. That's what I think. But for some reason, we seem like we want to complicate it.
Maybe we overthink it.
I think sometimes maybe it's too simple. That's why people decide, no, it's got to be harder than this. So I'll make it that way.
It could be. So I was saying before we came on, Melvin, that in this show we're looking at wonderful artists who are bringing people together through their music. They're breaking down walls. Who've been, people who've been inspired by their faith as well to make a difference. And I really think you're just an example of that. Could you take me back to your early childhood when, you age 5, you first started stealing people's hearts? Where did that love of dance come from?
Well, when I was 5 years old, the first day of school, I don't know. I think I already had my own ideas about everything. I think then I already had my own ideas because, my sister, of course, walked to school with me.
Okay.
But I went into the classroom. I sit down. The teacher said, "Can anybody dance?" And I thought, what kind of question is that? Everybody dances, And I'm 5 years old. I'm thinking this, everybody dances. That's what I thought, because, in my house, if music came on, everybody just would dance. It wasn't like you want to dance or shit. Everybody would just start moving, whatever they were doing, they just start moving to the music.
So was your father a good dancer? Or
no, my father didn't dance. My mother told me that he played piano, but I never got to see that. I know we had a piano for a long, long time, and I always wondered, why do we have a piano and nobody plays? But well, the teacher said, "Can anybody dance?" And I thought, everybody dances. So I raised my hand, and her name was Miss Wilson. She said, "Melvin, come and dance for us." So I went in and I did a little dance. Back then, there was a dance called the Huckabuck.
Right.
It's kind of like that James Brown move that he does.
Wow.
And I did a little dance, and everybody clapped and yelled, And from that point on, I knew exactly where I was going with my life. I thought if I can get people to be happy and to have fun, hey, that's where I'm going.
I know. When I was young, my father would bring me out to sing to people when they came to visit the house. Did your family do that with you when it came to dancing? Did they come and watch Melvin?
No, well, actually, I was kind of like, I had an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of like the dance legend of the city. He was a great dancer. The swing dance was in back then, and he was like, and he could go for it.
Oh, wow.
But when I came along, I was like, I had this one thing that I did that kind of stood out from everybody else. I was doing, they call it camel walk back then, but there was like kind of like the moonwalk that Michael Jackson was doing.
Oh, wow.
But and of course, I'm going to school, at school, every chance somebody get, hey, do that thing, do that camel walk thing,
It must have been difficult to move to do that. The people wanted you to show them.
No, it was me. I was like, hey, it's what I can do, and if people seem to be happy, hey, I'm happy with doing it,
And, many of the great performers have come from a gospel background, and I know that gospel has influenced some of your music. So, what was the influence? I take it you weren't doing the camel dance in church on a Sunday.
Well, I was raised in church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I come from a family of 12 children.
Wow! Wow!
Well, there was 14 of us in the house, and we had one toilet. And people asked me, "How'd you learn to tap dance?" I said, "Well, you got 14 people in the house and one toilet. You learn to tap dance."
That's the best explanation of it. Now I'm beginning to wonder where all the greats like Gene Kelly and others learned to tap dance.
But yeah, I at church, I didn't really know much about what they were talking about,
Sure.
And so at 5 years old, I'd sit there and when 5-year-olds, when they stop moving, usually they fall asleep, because.
But the music, did the music grab you in terms of that, because the lively kind of gospel music? When did that grab you? Was that at an older age then?
Yeah. No. At that age, I loved the music.
Yeah.
But I remember there's one guy who had this amazing voice, and the preacher would do the sermon, and right at the end of the sermon, he just come out of nowhere with this song, and it was just so moving that everybody right away was into it, and of course I was happy at this point. I could stay awake because the music was happening,
And did you sing in choirs when you were growing up? Because it sounds like you have that within your.
No, actually, I never sang in choir, but at an early age, I think about 7 years old, I decided, okay, I want to have my own singing group,
Wow.
So I got together with two other guys, and we formed this group called the Elks. Wow. It was a gospel group, though. Well, the only gig we ever really did was it was at a petrol station. It was a local petrol station. And the guy was a real nice guy. I think it was just being nice. He said, "Well, you boys come in and sing for me. I'll pay you for it.
Okay.
Because I told him I had a gospel group. He said. So we went in and we did our show. I was singing. We sang maybe 2 or 3 songs, and then he gave us, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't much, but it was a lot more than we thought was going to get.
Okay. and maybe then you thought, well, maybe I can make a career at this. So I know you performed with some of the greats growing up, but who were the people who inspired you the most? As you
I think growing up, of course, I grew up with the Isley brothers. I went to school school with me. And, so they were inspiration for me. You know, well, there was a story when they left. The place I grew up was called Lincoln Heights, actually. And when we grew up, they did the Three Wise Men, you know, for Christmas. They were always into something, and of course, they was always putting me into plays and different things too. But they always wanted me to do something funny or something, you know, because I guess I kept everybody laughing. You know?
Right.
And of course, and not only did I keep everybody laughing, I thought that was my job, you know.
Okay.
Even the teachers, they couldn't get upset with me because I made them laugh also. So.
So that probably got you into trouble and out of trouble at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean, the Isley Brothers and we are open for, you know, like James Brown, but I was so impressed, even at the age that little Stevie Wonder. We opened for him in Cincinnati. You know, I had this.
What age were you then? Mel?
I don't know. We was teenagers, you know.
Wow.
But he was little Stevie Wonder then. He was this little skinny guy with the harmonica, you know.
Wow.
But he still, you know, there's something about him. You know, he's just a genius. You know.
Yeah.
I think Stevie Wonder was such an inspiration for me. You know. Yeah.
So for you, was he one of the greatest that you had the chance to perform with?
I think the share the stage. Well, yeah, I did with Lionel Richie, and I after Lionel Richie. Well, actually, I didn't share the stage with Lionel Richie, and Lionel Richie actually opened for my show.
Lionel Richie opened for you. Wow, that is something to remember, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we had a group back then. It was called Movin, Soothing, and Stone Funk Band. I mean, it was like one of those. It was a funk band, you know, and this was after, you know, I mean, and we toured all over the States, you know, doing shows, and we got a hit record finally in the southern United States called "Send Me Some Love," and we were on tour. We toured across the South, and we stopped at this Tuskegee Institute. That was one of the colleges on our tour. So we stopped there and we did the concert, and the guy said, "Well, you know, we got a group from the school here that's going to open for you, you know." And I said, "Oh, great," you know. And it was the Commodores at that time. You know, it wasn't Lionel Richie and the Commodores; it was the Commodores.
Wow. Well, that's something, isn't it? And did you know then? You have a feeling then that the Commodores and Lionel Richie were going to be big?
No, actually, yeah, I thought the sound was nice, you know. But they were just more or less just forming, you know. And,
wow. It's quite incredible.
And of course, we had that kind of like Sly and the Family Stone kind of funk. We had that kind of rolling, you know. And then if you remember songs like "Shaky Ground" by the Temptations.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff we were doing, you know, that heavy funk stuff. But yeah, it was nice. That it had a nice sound, you know. But it was just a highlight looking back and think, wow, you know, he opened for me.
I'm sure that's one of his career highlights. But you've kept some of that funk in your shows. And I mean, I've had the pleasure to see you live, and there's no experience like a Movin' Melvin Brown concert. I don't know. Can you explain for people what the experience is like coming to see you? What do people expect it?
Well, I always think that, okay, whatever show I'm doing or whatever I'm doing, you know, I got to do something that feels good to me and that I'm going to have fun with, you know. Because I realized a long time ago, if it's fun for me, you know, then it's going to be fun for the people looking, you know. Because, you know, fun is contagious, just like you smile. Smile is contagious. You know, laugh, it's contagious. You know, you see somebody laugh and other people look at them, they start laughing too. They don't even know why. But it's the same way with having fun. I think when people realize, oh, you're having fun, then they feel like, oh, wow, oh, I can have fun too, you know.
Yeah.
And And
because at your
so,
shows, you always bring people up to dance, don't you? Or
oh
most
yeah,
of the shows I've been at, I've seen that you will bring audience up and try and teach
yeah,
them some
yeah.
moves.
Well, then they feel more connected, I think,
Yeah,
when you say, "Oh, hey, look, I'm not just doing this; we're doing this. So come on, you can have some fun with this also." And and the people that over the years that I've gotten on stage, they always when I get to a place, sometimes I get, I remember moving Melvin to this place, and they called me on stage to dance, and yeah, they
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, yeah. Of course they will. Of course. Do you have a favorite dance or song that kind of gets you to move? Or it
Uh,
came into my mind. There's so many.
well, I was really into uh, James Brown and Joe Tex. Of course, James Brown, his music was made to move off
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Joe Tex, he was the same. Joe Tex did, he died pretty young, but
Mm.
he had some moving music, and he could move also.
Wow,
And,
wow.
but I
So,
always like listening to and looking at people like James Brown, Jackie Wilson,
mm,
Joe Tex, all these people, they were movers, I thought, and of course when Michael Jackson came along, I mean, I was always excited about people who could sing and dance, at the same time. I thought, this is a show.
I have to confess, I've always been very jealous with people who can sing and dance at the same time. Uh, do both come natural? Does the singing come as natural to you as the dancing? And then what about the songwriting? Is that a harder process for you? Or?
Well, as far as the singing and dancing, I think we started out that way because with the first band I had,
Mm.
you know, the rule that I was a manager of the band and everything. The rule I had is that if you're on stage, you got to be moving. I don't care if you're playing guitar, trumpet, whatever you're playing, you're singing. If you're on stage, you got to be moving.
Wow.
So I guess you just get into the habit of doing it. So and you sing and you don't think about the dancing. It just happens while you're singing. So
Yeah, I think that's natural talent. I think I have to confess, when I was younger, I think I was about 20, 21. When I was a student, I had a kind of not a gap year, but I had some time off when I was working as a kind of singer dancer in a holiday camp.
yeah.
And the singing, I was absolutely fine. They would book me for special shows, but I had to try and teach people how to dance and do moves at night. It was so bad. People thought I was a comedian who was deliberately moving the steps out of sync with everyone else. I had to pretend that I was a genius, that I was so bad at getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took many hours trying to practice those moves.
So it was so bad it was good.
Yeah. Well, people had a good time. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Tap into Health dance workout life system that you have. How did you develop that? Where does that come from?
Well, I've been traveling the world for a long time, and I was always, when I was on stage, I was always conscious of the fact that I'm here to help these people to be happy and to enjoy something, an experience, and but then I started to ask myself, well, what happens when these people leave? Are they still happy? So, but I had been working, with health, I think maybe since I was 15, I started running and stuff, and then I reached a point where I was doing marathons, at some point in my life. And I thought, I want to, if I'm going to do this, I need to be totally and perfectly ready to do this when I do it. And so I started putting stuff out of my diet because I thought, okay, I started looking at what I was eating. I'm checking all the food and stuff, thinking, I don't need to eat this because it does this for my body, and I don't want that.
Wow.
I don't need to eat this. So I started eliminating things,
Wow.
and I got to a point where I was a vegetarian,
Right.
And about a week after this, I ran 26 miles. And
Wow.
I finished, and it felt like I just walked across the street to a party. I was like, wow,
Wow.
So I thought. So after that, I just thought, I just want to know why my system is doing something, how it's doing, and so I was just getting into the health thing, but I'm still an entertainer at the same time. And I thought, well, I should share this with people, because and I started, getting practical information from people, and I see people, was sick and they were, and different things like this, and so I'm looking for information about all of this stuff, and that's why I wrote the book, Simple Health and Happiness, and I put this system together because I thought, if people are healthy, they're happy,
Yeah.
And I thought, well, and if they're happy, they're willing to get to healthy, yeah. So I thought, okay, these two work together, So I put together a system, a simple way for people to be able to exercise at home, simple exercises. Because, I heard once that tap dancing is the second most aerobic thing you can do.
I didn't know that.
And I thought, well, I can teach a simple way. And in my system, I tell people, look, I can teach you something from the very first lesson that you come for, So I put this thing together called the TIH dance, Tap Into Health dance. And it's got about 10 or 12 steps with it, And when I go, I do workshops all over the world also when I travel. And I get people come to my workshops, and I sing and dance and let them know where I got my experience for this from. And then I talk to them about living a healthy and happy life because, I realize that a lot of times when people reach 50 or a little older, that's usually when they start having problems with their body, and it's because what's happening is that your body, when you're younger, your body is like, okay, you keep throwing it at me, but I can handle it, But by the time you reach that age, I think your body goes, hey, I can't handle this no more. You're going to have to start dealing with me in a better way if I'm going to keep you moving and everything.
Yeah.
And people get confused, and that's when they start to get cancer and all this different stuff because they keep going down this road, and their body is saying to them, "Hey, you got to stop this," but they don't listen. They're like, so I thought, I need to let people know this that if they take care of themselves, they can live a long, happy, and healthy life. Yeah. And that's what my whole system is about, helping people to be happy, healthy, loving, wealthy, and wise. That's my whole system.
That's the motto. So people can check that out on your website or your Facebook page. Or...
Yeah, they can go to movinmelvin.com. It's there. They can go to Tap Dance Into Health, and it's also there. So.
And on top of all of that, you also have this Change the World project that we're reading about in Austin, which is about helping homeless people in your hometown.
Yeah.
How did that come about? How does that fit in with all the other things?
Well, something that's funny is that I think I'm somewhat like Bill Withers. I really loved Bill Withers singing and stuff because there was a lot of philosophy in his singing, in his songs, and that's always something that I admired. And I thought, if I make a song, I should put something in it that's going to help people, get people to think, even though they're having fun.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Also, and well, I started this Change This World project because I was I was in Austin at the time, and I was I was I would like on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and these days I would go out. I would usually fast on these holidays because I thought, I need to have time to let my system and my mind recoup, from
Interesting.
so I would go out and I see these homeless people, and I thought, if instead of fasting, why don't I take the food that I would be eating and I could help these people and help myself at the same time. So I started that, and pretty soon it's like I would take out a few plates of food, and I take out 6 or 7 plates of food, and there would be 20 people, and I felt like this is terrible, And then the next time I take out 20 plates of food, and there was 40 people, and this is terrible.
Wow.
so
Wow.
so then I started taking more, and then I started. People started asking me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm taking food out to homeless people." So then people started to help me, and so I had this. It grew huge pretty fast because a lot of people. It's amazing, and that was my idea. If I can get other people, I didn't say to people, "Oh, look, I'm doing this," or anything like that. But when they asked me, I tell them what I'm doing because I thought if they know what I'm doing, maybe they'll do it. And I thought my idea was if everybody does a little bit towards the situation of helping the homeless people, the elderly people, if everybody does a little bit, the problems get done,
That's amazing.
So that was my idea, and the Change This World project came out of that because I decided I wanted to, after I was going to nursing home doing shows for elderly people, and I was doing the feeding for the homeless, and I was also going to schools when I got a chance, or to hospitals, and I would do shows for children, because I got to understand that these homeless people, they were somebody's child that didn't get the right information, And I thought, okay, well, then we need to start dealing with our children to get them the right information. And of course, I wrote a song for the project called Change This World that I do at the end of my show, The Man of Magic of Music. That's the story of my life pretty much. And but I thought, if I can just get people to understand that, hey, one person doesn't do it all, but if everybody does just a little bit, just a little, it doesn't have to be a whole lot, just a little, then we get these problems solved. And I think that's what we need to try to influence people to do. Just do a little bit, and maybe your friend will do a little bit. And of course, the rewards come from doing it. When you feel like I was talking about before, when people feel unhappy and left out, or if they go do something for somebody else, they feel so much better inside, And there's always somebody around us in worse condition than you are. And if you go and do something for these people, you would feel better, they would feel better, so everything comes up,
That's such a wonderful model to live by. I think if only the whole world was to do that.
Yeah, well, my idea was that, in order to build a better world, you have to become a better person.
Absolutely. The change starts from within.
Yeah. So I spend most of my life working on becoming a better person, almost constant for me. My New Year's resolution was, I want to become a better person this year. Yeah.
Just one thing, just before we end, I was reading something that you said today. You shared in a social media post, which was about live by faith rather than fear. About that struck a chord with me. You're talking about the best cure is prevention. What did you mean by that? Would you like to tell a little bit more?
Well, I went through a lot, and in my book I got some case histories of people who more or less, had like cancer and different sicknesses and illness, but they more or less they got back on track, and they changed their diet, changed their thinking, and they got back on track, and the cancer went away, and the sickness went away, and I realized that, okay, so if you can get rid of something by this way, then maybe you should do this before, and then and just live that way, and you don't have it to come in to begin with. And that's especially true. I mean, we're dealing with this covert thing, and I think, I think it's a wake up call myself. I think to say to people, look, you got this body. It's an amazing body, and you have this amazing mind, but you're letting it go to waste, and then you get old and start to get sick and unhealthy and stuff, because being older is no excuse for being unhealthy, I think,
That's interesting.
And that's, of course, that's what happened to a lot of people. I mean, they got hung out there, and I think the wake up call was for those people thinking, hey, I can do, I can keep abusing my body and keep neglecting my mind, and just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be okay. But it's going to come a day, if you're doing that you're not going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you'll be lucky if you catch it before you actually, die or something like this, and you may be able to bring yourself back. And but I was always, you're talking about faith and everything. I was always asking myself, even from a young age, what would Jesus do? When I'm dealing with a situation, Jesus was kind of like my mentor. Not saying that I made it all to all those great places that, to be a saint like that, but I thought it was a good place, to think, okay, I looked around, okay, who can I find that I can think that when I'm in one of these fixes or something, how to deal with it? And I came up with Jesus, and I thought, okay, it works for me.
Well, Mel, I could talk to you all night. It's really been, incredible, really, really, really inspiring. All the work that you're doing, the music, and you never seem to lose any energy. Or every time, I get a little grayer, and you seem to get a little faster, and I'm moving a little more. So,
well, my manager was telling me.
Following your system.
My manager was telling me, "Hey, you'll be 75 this year."
Wow.
I said, "Yeah, but I'm not even close to reaching my prime yet." So, so it's like, it's like, hey, I'm getting geared up, for more.
That's the right philosophy. Well, I look forward to hopefully welcoming you to Edinburgh at some point, or catching up somewhere. And we said we would do look to do something together at some point. But it's been a real honor for me, and just do well.
That's been really great.
Thank you, Melvin, so much.
But I hope we do get Edinburgh to move in. Of course, I've had festivals all across the board that have canceled out this year. So it's like, okay, that's why I've been doing online. I did a couple online shows, and because I feel like, I don't know, I'm one of these kind of people that feel like it's just like coming to Edinburgh. I feel like, okay, these people, they come and they pay money to see me, and they enjoy what I do. I feel like, I need to go and do this. So that I kind of putting shows online to kind of say, okay, look, I can have some fun. We can have some fun anyway, even if you're at home, Yeah,
and I think it keeps people's kind of spirits up. People need that. People need some positivity. and the
Yeah,
less. And
I put my Tap in the Health workshop online. I was doing some of that. I did a few songs from some of my shows, and then at the end I said, "Okay, I got everybody wherever you are, get up, stand up, and start to move." Because when you sing or you dance or you laugh, hey, you don't feel so down about no matter what the situation is. And of course, my philosophy on life is that there's a bad side to everything, but there's also a good side to everything.
Yeah.
And if you look at the bad side, of course, it all becomes bad for you. But if you look at the good side, then it all becomes good for you. So, yeah.
Well, the glass is half full, I think, is what you know.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we'll leave it there before we hear all day. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure you'll be going to this. Sorry.
It's great talking with you.
Really lovely to talk to you, Melvin, and we will speak very soon. You stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
All right. Remember, simple health and happiness. Take care.